Now that you've completed note-taking, let's get on and talk about reports. What is a report and what it is not? Report Writing Lesson 2, Report Writing. Task is the same. Report all necessary information of events occurring during a security shift. We talked about the condition. We talked about the standard for the course and the standard for Lesson 1. The standard for Lesson 2 is to understand and demonstrate the need and uses of a report. This next slide explains a little of the reasons for report writing, the importance of reports, and why we are teaching it in this lesson. The main role for most security officers is to deter, detect, and report. Reports inform the management of the conditions that need correcting. Reports are used for reference and record-keeping purposes. Reports serve as an aid in conducting investigations and deal with current conditions or past events. What are the fundamentals of a report? There are 6. What? Reports what happened. When? Reports when it happened. Where? Reports where it happened. Who? Reports who did it, who were the victims, who are the witnesses. How? Reports how it was done and, if possible, why it happened. Now let's talk about the 4 elements of any report. First, accuracy. Give facts, not opinions. We'll talk about opinions later, but generally there's no place in a criminal report. Record only the facts. Use details. Any small thing left out could be important later. Clarity. Always provide the date, time, subject, precise location, action taken, and the results of that action, as well as who wrote the report. Don't exaggerate, embellish, or speculate. Describe subjects by age, gender, race, hair, eyes, height, weight, and clothing. We'll talk about that in another lesson. Record details in the order in which they took place and be brief. Completeness. Information is power. Provide all the facts, not just the ones you think are important. Anything you leaves out deprives the reviewing authorities the ability to develop informed conclusions. Your job is to observe and report accurately. Legibility. A report that cannot be read is worthless. Always print, write, or type clearly and distinctly. Correct all mistakes. Remember, the finished report reflects on you as a security professional, so pay attention to detail. And use correct grammar, spelling, and punctuation. A report is a statement of the results of an investigation or any matter on which definite information is required. That's Oxford Dictionary's definition. What should you report? Well, how about safety or fire hazards, steam or gas leaks, liquid or water spills, lights and power left on for no reason, accidents, thefts or damage to property, malfunctioning electrical equipment, sloppy janitorial work, and improperly stored supplies. What else? Violations of policies, rules, or regulations, unauthorized time card punching, any evidence of sabotage, distribution of unauthorized or inappropriate literature. Now, this could be pornography, or it could be an advertisement from an outside company. If it's unauthorized, it's inappropriate, report it. Any problems with visitors or employees, or any unusual deviations during the patrol which result in additional time. This is the key to all of these slides. Any unusual occurrence or event noted during a shift or tour of duty. Record all patrols, report all patrols of the facility. Report any visits by company managers or supervisors. Now, what is a report anyway? Well, let's see. For our purposes, a report is a chronological, step-by-step, factual story about an activity or incident. This definition applies to both your daily activity reports, information reports, and incident reports. Report is a chronological, step-by-step, factual story about an activity or incident. This definition applies to both your daily activity reports, information reports, and incident reports. Since the report will describe the events which go to make up a given incident, they will be arranged in chronological order, each event occurring in a given time from first to last. It is step by step in that each event you describe follows logically from the event preceding it and paves the way for the event following. It is factual because your purpose in writing the report is to inform your supervisors and our client about the events that occur on your shift. We primarily want facts, although conclusions or recommendations can be offered. However, these should come last and be clearly labeled as such. Finally, a report is a story. When you write a report, you should be describing an incident or event so that someone who is not there can visualize it as clearly as you saw it, just by reading the words you put down. Why do you write reports? Your report accounts for the time you spend on the job. It is the handiest way, short of standing the shift with you, that your supervisor and client have of knowing what you saw and did. Regardless of the event or incident you must report on, you will make a complete report if you answer the 6 questions. Who, what, where, when, how, and why. Generally, the first 3 questions will be answered in the first part of your report, the fill-in-the-blank section. You'll want your reader to know immediately who was involved, where the event or incident occurred, and when it happened. What happened, how it happened may take a great deal of explaining throughout the report. Why the event or incident happened may be easy to answer, or it might be quite hard. It may be one of the first questions your report answers, or one of the last. For your report to be well written, it must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. These units will be shown by your paragraphing. The beginning of your story will generally be your arrival on the scene, who you are, who was on the scene when you arrived, when did you arrive, where is the scene, what is it a scene of. That should be your first paragraph. The following paragraphs will describe in chronological order what steps you took, whom you talked to, and when, and what they said about how and when the incident occurred, who arrived after you, and when, and what they did, and when. You get the point. The end of your report is the conclusion, the natural result of everything you've already reported. How matters were wrapped up, what was done with the debris, the bodies, and the witnesses and participants, as well as the scene of the incident. This is the part of your report where you should put down your own personal observations, if any. They should be labeled as your conclusions or recommendations so that they are clearly set apart from the facts you've reported. They should be well thought out, based solely on facts, and reasoned rather than angry or outraged or inflammatory. Keep in mind that the client sees your report, and if you disagree with the policy of a client, recommend that he consider, based on the incident, a change to that policy. Do not criticize him for his blind incompetence or short-sightedness or criminal negligence, but suggest civilly that he do things a different way to accomplish his own ends a little better. You would much rather the client took you up on a very good suggestion than have him demand and get you fired for insubordination. Some requirements of a good report. The sentences are all related. In the middle of your report on how you found and extinguished the fire in the chip tunnel, you will not include a remark about the fact that the magnet tray needs to be cleansed. Not related. The sentences are all in logical order. You smelled the smoke, then you found the fire, then you reported it to the main gate, then you extinguished it. The report is unified, which means everything is in it that should be, and nothing is in it that should not be. Everything in it is in its proper place. Your report about the fire includes all the details of you finding, reporting, and fighting the fire, and all the details are arranged in the order that they happened. The report should include full and accurate descriptions. This means that you challenged a man with a pickup truck load of wood who did not have a scrap pass, and you confiscated not a load of wood, but 33 pieces of rough cedar 2x4s, all of them 8 feet long. This also means the driver was not Don Jones of Gresham, but Don Jones, 500 East Hood Avenue, Gresham 97030. Don was a white male adult. Note, it's usually permissible to use WMA for white male adult, BMA for black male adult, HFA, Hispanic female adult, and so on. These are one of the few exceptions to the no abbreviation rule mentioned earlier. Don was 5 feet 10 inches, approximately 200 pounds. Remember, unless for some reason you witnessed him on a scale, you can't be certain, so always say approximate. Black hair, dark complexion, wearing a green plaid flannel shirt and faded blue jeans. The subject was not driving a green Ford. He was, in fact, driving a light green 2013 Ford Custom pickup with a tarp on the bed. And the license was Oregon CFM 729. The load of lumber had been concealed under a tarp. Some things to avoid in a report. Wordiness. This means using too many words to say what has to be said. Don't say, "As I entered the sawmill building," simply say, "As I entered the sawmill." Don't say, "Later on I subsequently proceeded to lumber shipping." Use the term later on or subsequently, but not both. Don't say, "Don Jones insisted emphatically that the lumber was his property." Just say, "Don Jones insisted." Avoid incompleteness. If you say, "I was directed to go to Rough Dry and investigate a theft. On arrival, I contacted Don Jones," you have not said who told you to go there, when you were told to go there, what kind of theft you were sent to investigate, or whether Don Jones was a witness, victim, suspect, or innocent bystander. Avoid slang. As I mentioned before, this must be avoided. Your report will include a complete description of Jones's green pickup truck, not such terms as his wheels or his heap. Avoid abstract terms. Jones concealed not wood, but 33 rough cedar 2x4s, 8 feet long. The lumber was not concealed in the back of his vehicle, but in the bed of his light green 2013 Ford Custom pickup truck, Oregon license CFM 729, underneath a dark brown canvas tarp. Always describe people, places, and things in specific, detailed, concrete terms, not in vague, abstract terms that do not conjure up a vivid mental picture. Avoid loaded or triggering words or judgments. Jones is not an ignorant redneck mill hand. He did not steal the lumber. He was challenged for a scrap pass and could not produce one. He did not lie and tell you the lumber was his. He merely stated that it was in his property. As far as judgments, your report will not state that Jones is a crummy thief who probably should have got away with murder for years and should have been fired and sent to jail years ago. You won't see anything remotely like this because it's not your function as a security agent or a reporter to pass judgment on anyone. This slide is your review quiz. Once again, you may stop the video, take the quiz. When you've completed that, you will have completed Lesson 2.